Hi friends, we're back with another craft today. I'm real excited about this one. We're going to do two different crafts with wine bottles. So you can get those at any restaurant that serves wine bottles. They'll give them to you free. So that's great. Or I ended up with a bunch for the craft. So you can always reach out to the South Knoxville Senior Center and I'll help supply that for you. So either way, we have a bunch, and so we got two different ways we're going to use them today. I'm so excited. Here's one. Isn't this cute? White paint, glitter on the bottom. Isn't that pretty? This one is green. This one is gold. With some really cool, tall, dried flowers in there. And the second one we're going to do is with twine or jute wrapped bottles. Isn't that awesome? They look great. They're great decorations, just out and about, easy, and a nice way to recycle what you might have around, but any glass bottle will do. It doesn't have to be a wine bottle. And again, you can get them free, so that's always a plus. So we're going to start with the painted one today. So all you need is a clean glass bottle and some tape. So I have some painter's tape today that I have at home. So what we're going to do is just cut off some, and we're going to make a design at the bottom. So you saw just the kind of smooth cuts that were on the bottom of these painted wine bottles. So this is the style that we're doing today, but you can just be creative. You can do anything. So I've got some rounded mountain shape that I'm cutting out and just sticking right on there. And then I'm just going to overlap, and I'm just trying to make smooth, rounded shapes, but there's also one that we're not doing today with polka dots. I don't know if you're a polka dot person. I like polka dots. And so you can do different patterns. It doesn't have to be this smooth, mountainy looking pattern. It can be straight lines. It can be polka dots. It's whatever you want, whatever you like. So I am just overlapping. See how I overlap right there? Just so I can get that smooth mountain kind of intersection. And now that's what I got on this side. I got to fix that. So I'm just going to take some of this scrap tape that I have from cutting my first ones, and I'm just going to make this meet, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm just taking this scrap and put it right over top. And now I've got two little mountain and valleys that I'm working with. And then this part down here is not even taped. It doesn't matter. All I want is like a sharp line to where I can paint the rest of the bottle and not have to worry about messing up the bottom where I want to do something a little different. So you can use acrylic paint or chalk paint. I'm a fan of chalk paint. So that's what I have handy. So that's what I'm going to use. And I have just this foam brush that I got probably at the dollar store. And I just reuse this thing all the time. Like I happen to have two today. So for the bottom part, we need some glue. I'm going to use Mod Podge. So if I was, not doing this video, I would take this brush, I'd rinse it out after I was finished with the paint, and I would just rinse it out and then start with Mod Podge and put, or a different color or whatever I'm doing. So it's very reusable. I like the sponge part because it generally doesn't leave lines, like bristle lines. So for this craft, it comes in quite handy. So all I'm doing, as you can see, is I'm starting from at the bottom, so that I'm just barely going over where the tape meets. So my fingers don't get all white. And I'm just making strokes going up so that whatever strokes we do end up seeing at the end will all be consistent and symmetrical. So this is a green bottle, and since it's that dark, I can kind of see through it, though this chalk paint covers so well. But I can kind of see through there. I need to do at least 2 coats, and possibly 3. These guys were done with just 2 coats. And one is a brown, one of those brown, dark brown bottles, and one was green. So I'm painting it all white. It kind of matches my decor. You could pick whatever color you'd want, but this is what we're going with today. But you could also play around if you've got a colored bottle, like we just started with the green or the brown. You could play around with using some of the natural color too. You know, just paint part of it. It's all however creative you want to be. You could just paint part of it and wrap off the rest. And, you know, we've got glitter on this for people who like bling. But if that's not your thing, you could just leave the bottom the natural color, or reverse and do the top. So like I said, we're going to need to let this sit. It dries. I'm usually impatient, and I use a hair dryer to dry my product off, my craft product off. And then I put the second coat on. That works great. But today, for video's sake, I already did one. So this one was a green bottle too, as we can see on the bottom. And I did not have my painter's tape, so I just used masking tape. And so I'm just going to take that off the bottom now. And masking tape does not leave residue. So that's the whole point with what tape you're using, is that it won't leave a sticky residue. So masking tape, painter's tape, which I think are very similar to each other. I think the clear tape probably isn't a super great idea, but I know duct tape isn't a good idea because it leaves all kinds of residue. So that you don't want to use. You don't want to use duct tape. So I'm just taking this off, and since I was using masking tape, I got all these little pieces. You notice when I did the other one just a minute ago, I had 2 big pieces, and I had to use 1 scrap piece. This, I don't even know how many pieces I've got. But look, see how that came off so clean? Isn't that pretty? So this is what it looks like if you don't want to put glitter on it, and you can see through it, or you could fill it up with maybe some oil, you know, cooking oil, to make it a darker solid, so that you wouldn't be able to see through it all the way, you know. So it just makes it a darker, richer green. That would be really pretty. But today we're using glitter. So you may already have that at home. I happen to have it at home from some other crafts. So that's what we're using today. It is messy, messy, messy. So that may be one reason why you don't want to use it, and you want to just use the regular color and fill it up, or use a different color paint. Again, however you want to do it. But these blingy ones look so pretty, and that's what we're going to do. So I have a green one and a gold one. Now I'm going to do a red one. So what I did before to make these other ones, is I used a paper plate just like I'm using here. I don't know how this is going to work. And I use really, really fine glitter. If you use the glitter with the big squares, it might not come out quite as good. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna have to take just this whole lid off. So what I did on these other guys is I had just little bottles of glitter, and I would pour it out, pour a section on this, and then I would pour it on a plate, and then I would pour it back from one plate over top again. You'll see, it falls off. The glitter that's not onto the glue itself will fall off. So I'm using Mod Podge, but any glue will work. It doesn't matter. I just happen to have Mod Podge, so that's what I'm using. And if your paint went in underneath your tape or something, you know, if you had a little oops, a little gap or something, this is where you'd fix it, is with whatever you're putting at the bottom. So this turned out pretty good. I don't have any major paint where I didn't want it. So I am just going to put it all the way around the bottle, but you can do it in sections if you want. The only problem with that is where you touch, where your sponge or your brush or whatever is going to touch, you're going to get glitter on it. So I do the whole thing. Then you just take your glitter and you pour it on top, over top of a plate or something. Ooh, this is pretty. And it really doesn't take that much glitter. I'll show you an example. Because what I'm going to do when I finish with this, see how it just falls off? I'm gonna recycle this glitter and put it back in the bottle. So it doesn't take that much. But what I had to do, because I had such a smaller bottle of glitter for these other guys, is I would do all the glitter I had, dump it off, and then pour it back on top where the glue was, and I hadn't got it covered with glitter yet. And did that over and over and over until it was all covered. So I'm a little spoiled with this one because I won't have to do that. So this glitter is spilling just a smidge up on my paint, but it's nothing to worry about. I'm not going to mess with it until this actually dries. But when it does, you just brush it off. You brush it off the paint, and it is stuck onto the glue. All right, hope you can see this. This red is gorgeous. I think a long time ago I did some Christmas ornaments with this, which is why I have it. But I love it. It's so pretty. It's going to look great on this with this green and this gold. So whatever colors you got going on at home, or if you've given it as a gift, that's awesome too. So, or you're just crafting because you like it, just like me. I just like it. All right. So then you tap it and get all the extra off. And there you go. Look how easy that is. Isn't that gorgeous? Red and green. This could be Christmas. Gold. This is totally Christmas. What colors am I using here? All right. That's it. Gorgeous. Put some fake grass in there, some artificial flowers, whatever works for you. And there you go. That's the first craft. Put that out of our way. We'll clean that mess up later. Craft number 2. So now we are going to do the rope bottles. I'm so excited. It's kind of a farmhouse decor. I love it. So this takes a little bit of while to do just because of how big it is. So we're going to do a small one. Look at this cute little bottle. I don't even know what this was. Somebody donated it to us. So I don't know. But that's what we're going to use today. And we're going to use some jute. Now, this was done with jute. And this one was done with green twine. I love green. But the twine is a lot thinner, so it took a little longer, which is fine. And got my fingers. So you need a hot glue gun for this. I got little silicone protectors here, so maybe I won't kill my fingertips this time. So you just start with a little bit on the bottom, and we're just wrapping this. Similar to some of our other crafts, like we did the Easter eggs that were so pretty, and we just wrapped around. So same concept, it's just with these bottles. And again, this one's a pretty green. They even make soda bottles that are glass. So if you want to go that route, that's fine. We're just trying to reuse and recycle what we already have. And one of our other centers donated these bottles to us. They were using for a project, so they were finished, and I'm like, yeah, I want them. We're bound to be able to find something fun to do with this. So I am putting a good amount of glue on this first row. This is not what I'm going to do with the whole bottle. But I don't want it to fall off. I don't want it to sag. So I am, and you notice I didn't put it all the way around, but you absolutely could if you wanted to. Now then, I'm just going to put a touch here and there. I make sure that I have a good amount of glue when I'm crossing over the starting point. Like I just met in the middle. So I want to make sure, because you know, right now I'm in one row, right? But I created a second row, and I had to like go up over it, over the beginning part. Do you understand that? What I'm trying to say? You know, you've got one single row, and then you jump up to go to the second row. So I just want to make sure it's nice and stable. I think these guys are getting in my way. So you just keep going around. Just put a touch here and there. We're using hot glue because it dries fast. I'm not sure about using other glue, to be honest. Most of the time I'm like, well, you can always substitute with something else, but I'm not sure about it in this case because you kind of need it to hold itself, you know? See how close everything is? We're trying to do the same thing, but I've also seen this where you leave some space in between your rows, and that's pretty too. So you know what? You just can't mess this up. It's going to look great whichever way you do it. And so you may have a little bit of glue. You know how hot glue strings. So you might have some strings here or there. You might have a blob of glue here and there. You fix it afterwards, so don't worry about it. See, that one had a blob of glue. And I just used it when I went around the second time, so that worked. So I think these are just adorable. You can stack them up on like books to give it a different dimension. So I've chosen different shaped bottles so you can see what it looks like. There was one that was squared at the bottom and rounded at top. I wasn't sure how that was going to work with my glitter. And then I thought, wow, what would that look like with this rope? So I am going to have to play with it, but I chickened out for the video. So it's like, oh, we better do something that's Not going to take as much time. You guys don't want you to get bored with me while I'm playing with crafts. So if you notice, I am just putting a little bit, spinning, and actually some of it I'm putting enough that I can go around twice and it catches it the second time. So I'm putting a little bit here, but it takes up more than just one row space. And then as I spin, I'm attaching the second row. And this jute has a flatter side to it. Has one side that's flatter, so I'm using it. But the twine didn't have any flat sides, so you know, it's all just going to be different but fun. You know, something else you could use if you wanted to. Depends on what your decor is. You know those mops that the mop heads, like the old traditional white mop heads, you can use that. You would just have more pieces. Like I know Dollar Tree sells those, but you would just have, see, I have one consecutive piece with this jute, which is nice. So you'd have to glue a whole bunch of pieces together. So I don't know. Maybe we should stick with twine and jute, which I guess is a twine of some sort. Look how this is going. Once I get it started, now it's going pretty good. And I just put enough on there that I can go around twice. And I'm not worried about it falling apart. You know, once your bottom is created, then it just kind of flows. And then you just go up as high as you want. So there's a natural lip to these bottles, and that's how far I go. But you could cover that part up. And then you got to think about decorating. How do you want to decorate this? You don't have to put anything in it. It could just be empty and you decorate the outside, like these other ones have flowers on them. So that would be pretty. Or, oops, that's where I started. There we go. Pick up on that little piece of glue. Ribbon would look great on these as a contrast to the rope that we're putting on. That would look really pretty. If you have some extra bracelets at home, wrapping beads around would look really nice. So just think out of the box and just look around. You probably have something at home you can use, and you don't even have to worry about going out. My mother-in-law used to collect and keep like old Coke bottles and you know, so as long as it wasn't one that's like in your collection but you just happen to still have, that's something that'd be at your house. You wouldn't even have to worry about hooking up with me or looking for glass bottles. And I suppose this would work with plastic bottles too. Just might not be as sturdy, and you would probably want to fill it with something. You probably want to put either some rocks or sand, or I probably would not put liquid. Unless you're just putting it in the bottom, like to cover up like this first craft and we're trying to make it more solid. If you decided to just leave the color of the glass, the green or the brown or whatever, but you wanted it a deeper color, then that one you'd have just at the bottom, and I think that would be safe enough. But if this thing falls, your liquid's gonna fly out, so you gotta think of that, because the lids, I mean, unless you have corks, you could put a cork back on top. My sister sent me some corks to craft with, I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with those yet, but that's not a bad idea. You could always put a cork at the top and you could put whatever you want to inside. So now we are just flying. We're almost finished. I have no idea how long this video is going, so I might have to cut it off since we are doing 2 crafts. I don't want to kill your whole day. But isn't this nice? Oops. You can see this jute makes a mess, but it's so pretty. I love it. So now when you get to the part of the bottle that's getting smaller, you are going to need to use more glue because your rope is, or twine or whatever you're using, is going to slide on you a little bit. So usually I put it on either side of the bottle. So, you know, if it's a clock, it would be at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Just to add some extra security there. Stability. And then I'm using my thumb, my other thumb, to help keep it in place while I get some glue going. Just like this. Still put enough on there that I can do it more around. If you're not comfortable with just using like the 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock thing, do 4. Put it every quarter around the bottle. Just play it by ear. And you know, all of this is subjective to how you want to do it anyway. This is how I do it. I'm just trying to give you some ideas and examples. But you've got your own style and your own way of doing things. So you just do what works for you. We're almost there. I hate to cut off when it's not finished, so we're going to finish it real quick. I'm just going to go up to the mouth of this bottle. Because it's got a nice, you know, ending point there for me. So I'm going to take advantage of that. We're almost there. Now I'll show you what I have in mind to decorate this cute little bottle. I like to pair things when I'm decorating. So like I probably wouldn't make, like I didn't, to show you examples, I made 2 each. Because if I'm going to put this on like my mantle or a shelf or whatever, 2 or 3 is fun for me, I think. So you might want to try different shaped ones, or if all of your bottles are exactly the same, you can craft them different. And you can place them, I think I mentioned, like on books. You can place them on books to help create, help it look different and create some dimension. I do that all the time. I love it. I decorate the books. All right, now see, I'm adding just a little extra glue than we were before. Using the table to help me stabilize as I'm going around. Now I'm going to go, look, I'm going to go all the way up there because I'm so close to the end. I'm going to be able to use that as I go around. I want to do that on this side too. All the way up. The only trick about that is you got to go fast enough with your crafting that the glue doesn't dry on you. But I think I'm close enough to the top. That's not going to be a problem. And almost there, ladies and gentlemen. Up to the lip. Sweet, we did it. So nice. Just snip off the end, secure the end with a nice dab of glue. Once it's dry, any kind of extra glue that you've got sitting around, all you have to do is pull it off. No problem, like this. Will just come right off, see? Isn't that pretty? That's so pretty. And it looks good. That one matches. Maybe I should put it with this one. See? Isn't that awesome? I could put it on a book if I want it taller. I could put something small in it. This is what I'm thinking I'm going to put on the front. I think I'll just... Okay, I have no idea what just happened, but I'm using my phone to record this and it clicked off. So you missed the whole end of this, but all I did was I finished up wrapping all the way to the top, and then I decided I want to put this flower. So I just had a bunch of these, pulled it off, snipped the end, and glued it. And isn't it cute? So sorry you missed the finale, but this is what it actually turned out to be. So these guys are great. We had a great time today. I hope you did too. And hope you're crafting at home. We'll see you next time. Bye.